As strange we walk through this land, all we can feel is sand, so weak and feeble. Lord, will you take our hand? On you we stand. When the water pours out, we go.
Now there ain't nothing to it, go ahead and bring Goliath-on. Ain't no giant, I ain't gon' fire on. Catch a fade, you I'm wrong, I'm gone. Y'all can catch the wave that I am on. I am icon, y'all are wide wrong. Think that I'm a reconcile born, so ain't nothing to it though. This is on me, ain't got much to do with who you know. Keeping it true to form 10 L's into a milli though. But they already knew that those farewell to your opinions, know that he is something. This is all me, ain't got much to do with who you know.
It's May 31st, and earlier this week, we had incidents that happened, or an incident in particular, but, throughout this 2020, it's been really hard. It's been really, really trying and jarring on people, from the quarantine with COVID to, unfortunately, the senseless acts of violence that's been happening. I'm not gonna, jump on here and say it's about this or it's about that. What I want to compel people to do is not jump on any of the extremes. It's a saying of mine, and it's something I always fall back into, but I think just with anything in life and society, you have, most people are in the middle. One side, you have somebody that's extremely, you have 10% on one side that's extremely one way, 10% of people on the other side is extremely the other way. But most people live within that 50% margin that's in the middle. So most people are about 25% away from the other person. As far as thoughts, morals, values, processes, what they want out of life, it's really that middle where you are, where the strongest is. Doesn't matter, what your race, color, creed, sex is. I think we all kind of, in life, we all want the same things, or mostly the same things. So I have to say, what's been happening as far as it goes, it's just, and the messed up part about it, or not the messed up, I guess, the good part about it is that, I happen to be in the martial arts field where you go back to the roots of it, or what you learn self-defense, you learn how to protect yourself, and that's all the things that you really do want to learn, in the hopes that you never want to deploy. Even if you got into the martial arts because you were bullied and want to be able to kick someone's, proverbial butt. Let's just say what it is. Even if you got into martial arts for wanting to kick someone's ass, after training, you kind of realize, after training for a while, you kind of realize, what it is, where you really stand, what can really happen, and you do your best to try not to ever use that, or to never have to go there. The act of learning and training, you learn how to protect yourself, how to defend yourself, so you really don't ever want something to degrade into the art of violence. That becomes the lowest common denominator. That becomes the talk, or it's the language of people who have no speech. And I'm not saying people who can't talk, if you're deaf, whatever, you still have sign language, whatever. It's people who have just emotionally, or that language of people who really have no outlet. They're emotionally overrun, they're emotionally overwrought, and that goes on both sides. Whether it's, unfortunately people in law enforcement of power who happen to, whether it could be lack of training or just their values or stuff that are wrong, that use violence to quell things. And on the other side of the issue, where people are, instead of demonstrating peacefully, going to riots, it could be for people who are in domestic situations where they're abusing their kids, or they're abusing their spouses or whatever. It doesn't matter what iteration it lies in, the act of violence in itself is the low end of humanity. And I just want to say that to try and bring people back to the middle, to understand that, we all really do want the same things in life. We really do want to be safe. We want to be protected. We want to feel like, we have a home. We have an opportunity to provide. we have a job that can, or we can make a living for ourselves, for our family, for the people around us, we can contribute. I think it boils down to a lot of that, no matter what your race, color, creed situation is. Now, yes, you do have some people that are willing to steal, lie, cheat, and steal just to get more from somebody else. Like I said, I think those are the 10%. Those are outliers. And you can't judge an entire race of people or an entire community, an entire neighborhood on that. I think we lost this sense of communication with each other where we're able to talk and not talk at someone, not talk or some people listen just so they can speak or just they have a retort, but actually sit down and to listen. Listen with an open ear, with an open heart, with an open mind. Not to yell, not to scream, not to try and get your point across. Just to sit there and to listen, to actually listen to what is going on, because we all have stories. We all have tales. We didn't just arrive to this situation to where we're at. We weren't born this way. We're born loving. We're born caring. We're born, certain values, and we're guided into certain situations, scenarios. We are pushed one way or the other. And a lot of times it's just having someone to sit down and say like, hey, I want to hear what you have to say. Myself have been not so much ridiculed but made fun of because I'm willing to sit down and listen to somebody whose ideas, thoughts, or morals are completely 100% different than mine. I wouldn't mind sitting down and listening to hear what somebody has to say, and I'm not listening to give an example of my life. I'm not listening to tell them exactly where they're wrong. I'm listening to their story. I just want to hear what they have to say, as well as I hope on the other side that they will listen to my story and hear what I have to say. With an open heart, with an open mind. One of the things I think that keeps happening with this is that this story is being said over and over again, and it's not being heard. People aren't being picked up upon. They're not being listened to. We're quick to condemn the violence of what they're doing or the acts of what they're doing in that sense, but we're not really trying to solve or make any push to fix the actual issues along those lines. Now, willing to sit down and listen to the stories of those people to see exactly what it is that we need to do to make these changes so that this fire doesn't keep repeating itself. It keeps repeating itself. And just like, how they say like forest fires are getting bigger and bigger because, we're mistreating the forest, we're mistreating the people, and the fires are going to keep getting bigger and bigger. That's my personal opinion. I really do hope it doesn't come to this, and for me, in my capacity, what I want to do is to really just quell it on both sides, that, we can have an open debate, we can sit down and talk, we don't have to sit down and go into this. I really just saw a video not too long ago about, I forgot what a protest was, but I guess the sheriff of that county or that city or whatever came out, dropped his baton, linked arm in arm with the people, and walked together because they had a valid complaint, they had a valid voice. And he was willing to not just listen to him, but to walk with him. And that goes on both sides. Don't blame people in uniform. I have friends who are in uniform. They're doing their jobs, they're doing what they can. Once again, there's some people on the force who are bad people. But most of the people on the force are good. And they're willing to help out. But if you come at them with force, they're going to defend themselves with force the same way. It goes both ways. It goes both ways. If you're online and people are attacking online, and it's so easy to sit behind a computer and type in whatever you want. Those trolls, once again, it's 10% of the people. They sit there, they do nothing but sit there and type all day. I don't care what your color, race, or creed is, whatever, you're just being agitators. But don't fall into those traps. That's what they want you to do. They want you to get agitated. They want you to get pissed off. All they want to do is talk their smack. Go ahead and talk. Say whatever it is that you want to say. Those people who are, like I said, they're agitators. You have an open forum to speak. I will willing to talk to any of you. But if you're just spewing out hate, using racial slurs, using curse words, once again, you're talking to you're using languages on the lowest level of where we are, where we should be as a human race and as humanity. Tell me about your story. Tell me about who you are, where you came from, how did you get to where you are. I'll tell you about mine.
We need a hero.
That's all I want to say.
Are you the rock we stand?